Welcome to the most updated news coming from CNBC Newscast about political happenings today, bringing you the fresh issues globally, so keep on watching to be updated. US President Biden's approval ratings have plummeted, and that could spell trouble for Democrats in Congress. The chaos surrounding the US withdrawal from Afghanistan and the emergence of the COVID Delta variant have driven President Joe Biden's approval ratings to their lowest point in his presidency. While Afghanistan dominates cable news, pollsters say COVID is likely the main factor behind Biden's lead in the polls.
You said on the campaign trail that you were going to restore the moral standing of the U.S., that you were going to immediately end Trump's assault on the dignity of immigrant communities. Given what we saw at the border this week, have you failed in that promise? And this is happening under your watch. Do you take responsibility for the chaos that's unfolding?
Of course I take responsibility. I'm president, but it was horrible what to see, as you saw. To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped, it's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay.
President Joe Biden is having a very bad month. His poll numbers have slipped to their lowest point of his presidency, and much of it has to do with COVID in Afghanistan. The frenzied US withdrawal from Afghanistan appears to have shaken voters' faith in his promise to bring competence and a steady hand back to the White House. Americans across the political spectrum are horrified by images of disparate mobs trying to get to the Kabul airport and flee the country. Biden insists that an element of chaos was inevitable with any US withdrawal, but after 20 years of war and nation building, the speed with which Afghanistan fell to the Taliban raises painful questions about whether American soldiers died in vain. On the home front, the highly contagious Delta variant of COVID-19 has overwhelmed hospital intensive care units, fueled by stubbornly high rates of unvaccinated adults in some of the poorest states in the country. The latest COVID crisis has split the country in two. On one side, there are vaccinated people living with COVID as though it were a seasonal flu. On the other, unvaccinated people who are succumbing to COVID at rates that are reminiscent of the pandemic's early days. As America struggles to confront twin crises, polls show voters soaring on Biden. Overall, voters approve of Biden's handling of COVID more than they do this handling of Afghanistan. But his COVID approvals have taken a hit this summer. Still, pollsters caution that Americans tend to judge their presidents based on domestic policy, not foreign policy. So the drop in Biden's overall approval ratings likely reflects the somewhat lower approval for his COVID handling, more than it does the sharp drop in voters who approve of how the Afghanistan withdrawal is being handled. A recent NBC News poll found that approval of Biden's COVID handling fell from 69% in April to 53% in August, a 16-point drop. Meanwhile, just 25% of voters said they approved of Biden's handling of the situation in Afghanistan. And as House Democrats know all too well, 47% is not enough to win a majority. Despite the bleak outlook for Biden and Democrats now, the president has several opportunities in the coming months to turn things around. If America exits Afghanistan without incurring any US casualties during the withdrawal, voters are likely to forget about the panic at the Kabul airport. Even better for Biden will be if House and Senate Democrats can pass his two massive domestic spending bills, an infrastructure bill and an expansion of the social safety net. If all this comes together, Biden's August nadir could seem like a blip. That would be all for today. Again, a blessed and wonderful day everyone. This is Glenn reporting.